Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 15, Episode 9, The Lies That Bind. Okay, I have not done this in a long time, but I am recording as I'm watching the show, so I don't know what to expect, but this is, I believe, the first episode after the shutdown for coronavirus, so I think this is the ladies recording themselves, maybe? I can't imagine what this is going to be like. I'm super curious, though, so let's just get into it. Okay, well, it's very, very dramatic. Let's just say that. You know, Shannon's like, a week ago we were in Palm Springs and we thought everything was fine. And we get all that ominous music. And then the screen says, because of COVID-19, their relationships, their friendships, and their lives would change forever. Dun, dun, dun. Wow. Shannon's like, they have shut the entire country down. I mean, listen, I am in no way, shape, or form making light of COVID-19. Believe me. I've said this so many times now, but I do feel like I'm having a little PTSD, even just living through it all again. So I don't mean to give that impression, but I am making fun of the housewives. Make no mistake about that. I feel like that's my job. Shannon talking to Jen. What if my lungs did fill up with fluid? What if I died? Oh my gosh. In the opening, when they're all holding out the orange, they're all in masks. Okay, yeah, this is very different than a normal episode. We have Bronwyn and Shannon on a Zoom call pointing out their roots to each other, how much their hair's growing out. And we have Elizabeth doing a jigsaw puzzle, talking about her animal sanctuary and how she's going to do whatever she can to help animals. And she's also going to be asking people for donations to help all of the animal rescue places that need help right now. It should be pointed out that even though she's just sitting there by herself doing a jigsaw puzzle, she does have her pajamas unbuttoned all the way down to the navel. So some things will never change. It doesn't matter that it's a pandemic. The girls need to breathe. This is very mishmashy. I don't know if the whole hour is going to be like this, but we check in with Bronwyn's house and the kids are playing and Rowan's doing a headstand and Bronwyn is FaceTiming with Gina and she's saying, you know, obviously I'm not going to AA meetings right now. Then we cut over to Shannon's house and they're all having dinner together and John said, I would like to make a toast to Shannon Storms Bedore, the woman I want to spend the rest of my life with. Is there a proposal in there somewhere? Isn't that a weird thing to just say before dinner in front of all your kids? I mean, I believe it was just last week that Shannon said she's not going to jump into marriage again, so don't know. Yeah, this is going to be a weird episode, guys. We are seeing an entire montage of Bronwyn at home. Oh, I don't know. She's never been without a housekeeper since she was 16 years old, so she's trying to do laundry, but she's never done it before, which is just a crazy thought to me. The idea of never having done laundry before, especially when you have a household with 9 people. Wow. That is just, that's some privilege there. Like, I would love that. But she said she gets up at 6 a.m. and she goes to bed at 10, and all day long she is cleaning because she kind of has OCD. We see her lifting the entire toaster oven and shaking it over the sink. Because she didn't know there was a crumb tray that comes out. Wow. I mean, you know what? There are some blessings along the way with this coronavirus. Okay, well, apparently coronavirus is not keeping Emily and Kelly from visiting with each other in person. At least they're outside, but, you know, still right next to each other. Anyway, they're of course talking about everything. Emily said, I've got to do something with my kids. I've got to get them out of the house. She said they're like fighting, killing each other. She describes it as like house arrest in a beautiful house with a swimming pool and a beach nearby. And then Kelly said, Shannon just called me and she's all upset, but she does have a lung issue. Emily goes, well, she's always got something wrong with her. Then we get to see a montage of Shannon ailments, not the least of which was last season after Kelly bunged her on the head and my one eye is blurry. She couldn't see out of one eye. Oh, well, okay. So Bronwyn and Sean are also meeting them at the park there. They're sitting a little bit further away from Kelly and Emily, except Bronwyn does lean in and does like air kisses to both of them. So Kelly tells them that she's leaving for New York on Sunday to go be with Rick. In her confessional, she thinks this is all ridiculous. You can't shut down the economy. People have to work. True, but people are dying. So something has to take precedence over something else. So Jolie is going to be with her dad. And so Bronwyn in her confessional said, leaving my children in the middle of a global pandemic is not an option. I could never do that, especially for a booty call. Yes, but also, aren't you risking all your children by sitting there in the open without a mask on next to Kelly? You know what? I'm going to cut them some slack because early on, a lot of misinformation, and I just think people didn't really know what was going on. Oh, God, you guys. Bronwyn is telling them that Elizabeth has gone on social media and said they're lying about the numbers. This virus isn't as bad as they're saying. And they didn't do this shutting down with the AIDS epidemic. Why are they doing it with this? Elizabeth, you do know this isn't contracted in the same way one would contract AIDS, right? You can't cough on someone and give them AIDS. Okay, now with Shannon is the other extreme, She's very, very cautious about this and pre-existing condition. I understand it. She said she is crying and I want to say it's her confessional, but you know what? It's all confessionals basically because I don't know who's filming. That's a good question. I don't know who was filming Bronwyn, Kelly, and Emily at the park because I thought they were filming themselves. Maybe it was Sean. No, we saw Sean at some point. Shoot, I don't know. Maybe it was Shane. Anyway, Shannon's in the car and she's talking to her phone, I guess. And she's crying. And she said, people are not. Oh, first of all, let me say this. They're showing on the Chiron, they're showing like what day of the shutdown it is. And this is day 12. So Shannon in the car talking to her phone, crying, people aren't following my rules. So what happened was John's son, Joe, came to the house and she said, okay, once you come to the house, you can't leave the house then. Now this is your bubble. I guess 2 days later, he left. So then John left and Shannon said, I feel like he made his choice. Joe looks old enough to be on his own, but I don't know. What happened to the cheers to Shannon Storms Bedore, the woman I want to spend the rest of my life with? And she's like super stressed out about it. And isn't it ironic that she, of any of the housewives, is the one that actually contracted COVID? Okay, so we're on the plane heading to New York with Kelly Dodd. She's like, whatever, it's inevitable. I wash my hands. She's not wearing a mask on the plane, by the way. I wish they would tell us what date it is instead of what day of the shutdown, because I'd like to know, are we still in March or is this like April now? Good God, Rick will really do anything for her, won't he? He's taking her toenail polish off. My husband has never done that. And, to be fair, I really don't want him to, but yeah, Rick does come in handy. Just saying. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to kind of just breeze through this episode, I think, because now we got a montage of Shane vacuuming their house. Emily talks about how she was afraid being quarantined with Shane would put a strain on their marriage. Yeah, I wonder why. But apparently it has not. And now Shane is cleaning and vacuuming, and they're doing great. Bronwyn's house is maybe a little bit more stressful. She hasn't said anything about going through this sober, but I assume that she is. Bronwyn says that she and Sean live in two different worlds. In her world, people are dying, and this is scary. And in his world, everything is fine. Bronwyn does admit that when she is stressed out, that she lashes out at others. We saw a little bit of that last week, so, she's not lying about that. I just hope that it's not too much, especially because the kids are there and they're all trapped in the house together, even though it's a huge house with lots and lots of rooms. Kids pick up on stuff like that. But Bronwyn thinks she's the only grown-up in the house. From what we've seen, it does not look like that. I believe it was Sean that she asked how to run the washing machine. Do I put it on warm? Do I want heavy duty? And he's the one answering all the questions. So I don't know. It's a perception thing, I guess. Now we're on a Zoom call with Gina and Shannon. They're again talking about their hair, and Gina, side note, did not do anything with my hair today. I will be getting my hair done next week, so we are just doing our best au naturel right now. So Gina's got a really cute short haircut, but she's like, look at me now. It's like a legit mom haircut. And Shannon's laughing. And then Gina said, we don't leave here at all. Me and the kids are not leaving at all. Shannon said, yeah, me neither. Well, John's at the market right now getting some stuff. And I'm thinking, didn't John leave after his son Joe? So thankfully, Gina said, wait, John's back living with you again? Oh, yeah, he's back. In her confessional, Gina said, Shannon, when Shannon told me he left, she acted like they were breaking up or something. So Shannon tells her, yeah, I told John that, you have to choose between me or Joe because you can't be coming back and forth. And he left, and, that's what happened. And that's when I talked to you, Gina. But a couple days later, he just showed up at my door. And he was very apologetic, and he said he understands now. And Gina goes, well, yeah, Shannon, but he can't it's too late now because you let him back in your house. So, if he got it, you've already been exposed to it. But he can't be doing that because you're one of those people who's immune compromised that we need to worry about. Yes. Thank you, Gina. My voice of reason, girl, for season 15. I never felt this way about you before, Gina. I love you. You are making sense to me. I appreciate you. I think you're funny. You just showed up this year, though. That's the thing. We have a little FaceTime call with Kelly and Jolie because Kelly got stuck in New York City because do you guys remember when New York was like the epicenter, the hot spot where it was really bad? So now I'm thinking I kind of know when this was because at the very end of March is when we got our daughter home from there, and she quarantined with us for 5 months. I think she was here at home. So this has to be beginning of April, I would say. In any case, Kelly said, I was only going to be here for a week while Jolie was with her dad, and then she got stuck there. So she's on the phone with her. Jolie's showing her all her homework she has to do online and stuff like that. Yeah, Kelly just said she misses her. Okay, so Elizabeth is again driving me nuts because she says in her talking head, I don't know if this is a man-made virus or if it's just something that came naturally from a monkey, but I'm getting really tired of this staying at home thing. And then she breaks down crying and saying that her lawyers had called her and they are postponing her divorce. This part I get because I know she was very, very anxious about it and wanting to be done with it. And so now to still have this thing hanging on even longer, and I don't know if it's going to cost more money. I don't know what's going on, but I do sympathize with this thing that you just want to be over with, and now it's hanging on. Okay, the stuff with Bronwyn is not good, you guys. She is struggling with this shutdown, this pandemic, not drinking. It's like a perfect storm, and she is just lashing out at poor Sean. He said something very innocuous in the car, and she's like, "Oh, thanks, you're making light of it." And he goes, "No, I didn't mean it that way." "Okay, that's fine. This is great." And then later she's in her closet hanging things up, and she said, "So I hit Sean, and I haven't done that since Aspen." Then she tells us that when they were in Aspen, she really, I don't know if she slapped him or she just really whacked him. And it was in front of Cullen, one of their twins, the 5-year-old twins. And she says, "I don't even know who I am when I'm like that. And I've never seen that side of me before." And so I guess what we didn't see was that she hit him again they were in the car going somewhere. Yeah, it's not good. She said, "I don't want to be around him. I don't. I feel trapped in my house. I feel trapped in my marriage. I feel trapped physically and emotionally." By the way, this is day 40 of the shutdown, and Bronwyn is 89 days sober. In her confessional, she's saying there are, I put a happy face on our marriage, but there are parts of the marriage that are not good. There's a part of me that it's a big piece of this, and it's like now we know. Because before this episode aired, she came out as a lesbian, and so I'll know what she's referring to right now. It's got to be hard. I feel bad for her, for Sean, for the kids. Honestly, she's sitting in her bed and she's like, I'm so glad we got the alcohol out of the house because I haven't wanted to drink in like 2 weeks, but I do now. I'm just really glad it's not in the house." And she's like, and she looks rough, you guys. She looks rough. And I'm far from an expert, but I believe her. I believe that she's sober. Oh my God. Well, now we see a date. It's May 1st, 2020. Elizabeth is at her house and she's like, "It's May 1st. The mayor has said they lifted the ban and we can go wherever we want as long as we socially distance responsibly. So yeah, woo." And Kelly's there next to her and she pans over and she's got about 15 people over for a party. What part of socially distancing do you not understand? Okay, so according to Shannon, it's been weeks and weeks and weeks of isolation, and I would like some human contact. So they're getting some human contact. The ladies are all going over to Kelly's house. They're walking in with masks, and I guess they're sitting far apart. Shannon would like to be at least 10 feet away from Kelly because Kelly's been all over the place. Somebody said, "Oh, I wish Gina was here." I didn't realize she wasn't. And Shannon said, "Oh, well, I saw her Instagram that Tamara responded to her, 'Had so much fun with you yesterday.' And then after that, she canceled today." I don't know, you guys. Baby's here. I don't have a relationship with Tamara because she has taken it upon herself to trash me. Well, Elizabeth isn't there either. And so now they're trash talking Elizabeth and how she gets her stories all twisted up all the time. She's caught in another little lie or situation where she's telling one group of people one thing and somebody else another. So Shannon said the whole thing about Jimmy leaving the next morning after the vow renewal because he had to go to work. But then she told Bronwyn and Kelly that he left because he was so pissed off because Shannon was yelling at him the night before. So there's, things like that, which, you guys, I want to get to the bottom of. Although I'm not thrilled with Elizabeth, I still want to get to the bottom of all her twisted stories. Kelly just referred to Elizabeth as a blowfish. I just thought that was important to mention. She thinks that Elizabeth is telling all these half-truths because she's insecure, just like a blowfish. So people are coming at her. She blows up. That is the worst analogy, and I love it. Okay, now we're FaceTiming with Bronwyn and Emily. Bronwyn tells her that she was DMing with Elizabeth, telling her how bored she is, and Elizabeth goes, oh, I know, me too. And Bronwyn's like, I wanted to say, I'm friends with some of your friends too, and I can see you all there at your house partying and stuff like that. She said, you know how Shannon said that, Elizabeth isn't all she seems? And I asked Shannon what she meant by that, and she said, just you do the research yourself. This is so Shannon, though, right? To bring it up and then be like, well, I'm not. Clean hands, Shannon Bedore. I'm not the one telling the gossip. No, you just bring it up and you suggest that they Google it. Anyway, Bronwyn did Google her, and she said, I saw she's got her house on VRBO, and the latest review was from a couple that stayed there like 3 weeks ago. Emily's like, are you saying that you think she doesn't have the money she says she has? And Bronwyn's like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Bronwyn comes over to Shannon's house. They're sitting and talking. Meanwhile, Elizabeth and Gina are on FaceTime, and Elizabeth is planning a girls' trip. Shannon and Bronwyn are talking about it too. I guess Bronwyn said, Kelly kind of invited me-ish. I guess the plan is that they're going to go to Lake Arrowhead, which is about an hour and a half away. They're all going to get COVID tested before they go, and then have this girls' trip. Gina and Elizabeth are actually having a nice little conversation. Gina said, yeah, you were kind of telling all kinds of different stories, and I didn't know what to believe. And I think that Elizabeth is saying, yes, she was crazed about this divorce, but the one thing that COVID has taught them both is like, why are we fighting about that? The things that mattered don't really matter. She mentioned settling. I don't know if that means the divorce is over or going to be over. Unclear. Oh, okay. Shannon told Bronwyn that Kelly told her that Elizabeth's divorce was all settled and everything. And Bronwyn goes, oh, good. Now maybe we can talk about something else. Okay, so this is interesting. Gina tells Elizabeth that Shannon had this get-together. It was at Kelly's house, though, but anyway. And then Gina said she wanted me to go, but I found out it was that Shannon just wanted to talk to all of us about you, Elizabeth. And I'm not having it. I don't want to be any part of that, so I just bailed. So it has nothing to do with Tamara? I don't know. Oh, my God. Okay, so Emily just threw Bronwyn under the bus because now we see a day earlier, Emily was on FaceTime with Elizabeth, and she told her that Bronwyn pulled up your financials and looked at documents and stuff like that. I did not see this going that way. Right now, it definitely seems like Emily and Gina are on Elizabeth's side against Shannon and Bronwyn. Elizabeth said she doesn't like that people are digging into her past because she's had a lot of dysfunction there, and she doesn't want that stuff to get out. Okay, well, now I want it out. No, I don't know if this has to do with her childhood. Oh, okay, well, this is a cheerful look back. This is now at the time of the murder of George Floyd and the protests that subsequently followed that. We see Elizabeth talking about it. We see a tweet from Emily, horrified by the events, obviously. We see Gina on the phone with Giselle Bryant from Real Housewives of Potomac. They're talking about race and Black Lives Matter. We see Bronwyn and her children at a protest, which is great. Bronwyn with her mask down under her chin, which is not great. Now we have a little montage. Bronwyn is at a restaurant with her friend Shari. They've opened up to just like 2 people is the maximum, and they make a joke about no threesomes, and Bronwyn says, yes, that's in phase 2. which was actually kind of funny. Emily's got a pretty black lace mask on. I don't know. Her and Shane make a joke about it matching her panties or something. And now we have Shannon FaceTiming Kelly. Kelly's like, I'm at Bristol Farms. Do you need anything? Shannon, I'm at the urgent care right now, Kelly. I brought Stella here because she said she had a little cold, and we took the swab, which is not accurate. The swab is the one that was more accurate than the mouth one, right? The nasal one, oh, maybe she meant the swab in the mouth. Maybe that's what she meant. Anyway, she said it's not accurate, but Stella tested positive. Kelly, oh, and you're negative? And Shannon said yes. The doctor said, but you have a slight fever. And she said, but I tested negative twice now. So she told the doctor she wanted to be tested again. He said, I don't recommend that. She said, do it. And she said he went way up there and mucus was streaming out. Side note, I have never been tested, and that scares me to death. Martha has been tested. She talked about that a little bit on her channel, and she said it is a no walk in the park. Yeah. She was actually surprised by how intense it was. So I am just, I'm just going to sit here in my basement and cross my fingers that the vaccine is going to be available very, very soon. Anyway, I guess John and Sophie and Adeline are there as well, and everybody's getting tested. So then in her confessional, she tells us that the twins snuck out and went to a party where nobody was wearing a mask. They were like hugging each other, hello, and everything. Okay, and on that cheerful note, we end this episode. I appreciate so much that you guys are here. I really do. Before I go, I want to remind everybody that I am an Amazon affiliate. And if you are planning on doing any Amazon shopping this holiday season, if you go to my description box below and click on any link to any of the items I have listed under my faves, once you are in Amazon, you can then buy anything you want. It does not have to be off of my list. And I will get a small percentage of that. So I'm very, very, very small. So obviously this is not something you have to do, but if you are doing it anyway and it makes no difference to you either way, this would benefit me. So I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. As always, please leave a comment. I love to hear from you guys. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And don't forget to subscribe to Jill Informed if you haven't already. And I will see you next week for the next recap of the Real Housewives of Orange County. Bye.